Good morning guys, it's Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. I'm standing in the middle of the main street in our local town called Nagambie in central Victoria. Christine and my shop is over there where we run two separate businesses because my business used to be in the other old shop there, and regulars of this channel will know the story of how I had to clean up and move. We now share the shop that you're about to see open. I've had numerous requests for a bit of a walk through the shop or an updated one. If you're new to the channel, I'm a second-hand dealer. I've been doing this for about 25 years. A lot of my videos are based on what we find, doing cleanups, deceased estates. I do a lot of repairs. I'm unboxing stuff all the time. Basically a professional treasure hunter. So we're about to open the shop. It's a couple of days after Christmas. It's going to be a pretty warm day today and the town is going to be chaos. There's tourists everywhere. So we better get open straight away. Let's get to it. And here we go. We usually open around about 9ish, even though our door says we're not open till 10. And it's a bit of a teamwork thing. Kristen and I are well schooled in this. We know where our individual things go. We know where the trolleys, we like to position the trolleys. And it's just a matter of positioning them around so that customers have access to browse outside the shop as well as access the shop. We're fortunate that the old building itself is set back off the footpath, so where we're putting all our displays is actually still on private property, and that's good because the local council, as many councils do, have restrictions on what you can put on the footpath and you need permits and that sort of stuff. Well, we're exempt from all that, so we fill it up as much as we can. It allows us basically extra showroom. Mind you, when we pack it up, you can't get down most of the aisles in the shop. It really jams it all up full. Sometimes we actually have a bit of furniture, like large wardrobes and things, out for free. At the moment, it's just our stuff on trolleys. Okay, so that setup took us just under about 12 minutes. We've got it down to a fine art. Everything's on trolleys and basically wheels, so it makes it pretty easily. And we don't mind the pack up, or the setup and the pack up. Probably the pack up's the worst after a long day. And because the shop faces west, if it's a hot day, everything's burning hot from the sun in the middle of summer. It's supposed to be about 34 degrees here today, I think that's Celsius. So it's going to be pretty warm. But you can see we have our piano here for locals to play. I do put the stool away at nights. That's just a recent addition, that piano. And I've done a video on removing the old one. If you've seen that, I don't know when I put it up. You may not have even seen it yet. Book exchange, which a lot of locals use and tourists alike, and that's just free to take a book and maybe leave one, or somewhere in your life pay one back to another book exchange. We often have a bit of free stuff out here just to move stuff on that we don't want, but it's too good for rubbish. However, I've got to be careful that it doesn't look too junky here, and sometimes people do drop stuff off and we get to work and there's a big pile of junk, so it does need a bit of monitoring. So yeah, lots of trolleys, lots of low value stuff out the front just to move it on. Some artworks there from a recent house lot series I did, and they've been selling quite well. The clearance table, $1 each. A lot of it just is put out here when we're not sure what to do with it, but it's too good to throw out. And as I said, a lot of it ends up free. Christine has a lot of her homemade stuff or handmade stuff hanging out here with her bags and everything. There's a lot more inside, I'll show you in a minute. And over here we have more of them, and she does really well with those. A lot of ladies like looking through them and buying gifts and that sort of stuff. Leftover fabric, I think that's $3 a piece. That's just stuff that Christine doesn't have a use for immediately, so a lot of crafters and fabric workers come and grab some of that for their projects. Your regulation creepy doll down there, I don't know why, it's just there was nowhere else to put it. Lots of shopping bags hanging on the rails here. And this side tends to be a bit more of my stuff, a bit of e-waste electrical, some old bottles in crates here. There's a microwave and a DJ speaker, Bluetooth speaker. I've still got to put a couple of these things out, I forgot to. So yeah, just more shed stuff, assorted hardware. Odd low value tools, screwdrivers, spanners, pulleys, bits and pieces, and some other bits here, some cassette tapes. These are home recorded ones, so of course I'm not selling non-copyrighted music or anything like that. It's just, you know, buy a tape and tape over it. They're blank tapes with stuff on them. Videos amazingly still sell. So I usually get about $5 each for videos. Books, we have a lot of books here that we do sell. These are $5 each. If they're here too long, they go on to the free book exchange. And the row of trestles along the front, I usually put a lot of my electrical stuff for sale and priced usually to sell fairly quickly, because I don't want this stuff out here in the sun too long. The tickets fade very quickly and things start to look very secondhand very quickly. But I do put a lot of kitchen appliances and stuff out here, and they usually sell very fast. Okay, so that's the outside display. We have cars pulling up already. We'll have a quick walk around. I don't think there's anyone in the shop at the moment. And just have a bit of a browse at what we've got. So it's a fairly large area. Here's Christine. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
It looks like you're delivering German steins of beer for breakfast. So we have one huge expanse, which is pretty cool, and we've divided it into kind of sections. So we have a kitchen section straight ahead there. This front section is more shed stuff. Christine's just taken those glasses to the bar section. I have a tech corner down the back there. But let's go left. Someone once said you should always go left when you go into a shop. This is just random stuff we put sort of very visible in the windows. There's a lot of people walking past when we're closed. Remember that we're only actually open Friday, Saturday and Sunday, so a lot of people and tourists passing through town during the week tend to just look in the windows. We occasionally get calls about stuff. A nice cabinet here. We've got some vintage toys and things in. We find it best to put toys in cabinets, otherwise the kids just pull them out and play with them. Some bottles and stuff in the window. They always look nice in the window. Christine has a good supply of cottons for her sewing, and she has, how many machines do you have here? 1, 2, 3, 4 machines here. So there's cover stitch machines, overlockers, straight stitch,
And a blind hem machine.
blind hem. Oh, I got 3 out of 4.
You did well.
Yeah. A lot of china down the cabinets in the middle of the shop. And even though china doesn't sell like it used to back in the 80s and 90s, it still sells. You've just got to keep your prices down a bit. But all sorts of knickknacks. We had a heap of yo-yos in this cabinet. There's a few left. All the Coke ones have sold. We tend to leave pretty well all our cabinets unlocked and open, except for a couple of ones with a bit more valuable stuff in. And a lot of stuff we like to keep an eye on at the front of the shop from our counters we put on these front shelves here. Things like watches and little crystals and things that people are likely to put in their pockets. And it does happen, unfortunately. And some of the more valuable bottles, I can at least keep an eye on them. So I'll swing back around this way. This is my staging area where boxes of junk get dropped off, and I try and sort through it while we're open. I have some rocks in this cabinet here. We're still sorting out a lot of Mum's gemstones and rocks, so they're going into that cabinet. And some more valuable stuff. Not that we keep much valuable stuff in here. I don't really like keeping gold or silver in here because, you know, there's a likelihood of it's being broken into, and I'd like to stay a junk shop because then you're not likely to lose much value and people won't smash up cabinets, hopefully. So just lots of little bits and pieces. And we have a guessing game here, a lot of mystery objects, which I've done a few videos on. Haven't changed them for a long time, so we might do another mystery object video soon. Moving around this side, we have some jewellery and stuff in here, just low value costume jewellery, necklaces, a little bit of brassware there. And when I say low value, you know, $5, $10, $20, I'm not going to put a $200, $300 or $400 brooch or ring or something in a cabinet here. It's likely to just be targeted. There's a clock that I pulled out of the shed recently in one of my emergency storage shed videos, and that's keeping beautiful time and running nicely. I put $275 on that, and I quite enjoy it being there. Moving around this side, belt buckles. Now I know some of you are probably going to say, go slower, we can't see the prices. Look, a lot of these are between $5 and $50. You know, just about heaps of stuff we just price at 10 or 5. That one's 30. Shaving mugs and things here. What's on this one? Looks like a Noritake one. Got $30 on that. 15. The old hair clippers, probably just 5. They're pretty hard to sell. Some old buttons and badges and things. People love looking at these things, old shavers. And just flick through a few prices. Most of them are just $10 each, $15. Not a lot. We like to have our shop in that bracket of prices because we do sell a lot. You know, you go into your typical antique shop and everything is hundreds of dollars, and they must have days and days where they don't sell a single thing, whereas we can take $1,000 in a day in the busy times fairly easily, and with the margin we make, that's a pretty good income. I have some better stuff here. This is mostly Australian pottery, some ginger beers. You're probably getting a lot of reflection here. I do have this cabinet locked because I don't want someone to drop a ginger beer that's worth a few hundred, and there are a couple in here. I have sent some to auction. Much more of Christine's handmade stuff along the back. All little bags. I had no idea there was thousands of different types of bags. I thought, you know, a bag was a bag. A couple of different sizes and that sums it up. But no. There are bags for every occasion. And they sell really well. And for those that don't know Christine's channel, I'll put a link underneath. It's Christine's Home Affairs. And she makes just about all of these out of reclaimed fabric, or things like swatch samples that were going to be thrown out. Sometimes the samples are very small and she stitches them together to make bigger bags. So it's essentially new, very good quality fabric, but it was about to be dumped. So it's a really good niche market. A bit more stuff down this side that we still have to sort out. This little aisle becomes a little bit of a, oh, let's shove it down the back there and customers won't be able to get down there, but who cares because we'll run out of room. Lots of records, music's popular, and I think around this side I had cassettes. Cassette tapes are back. Well, they sell. I don't know if they're really back, but they sell. CDs, more records, and a bit of musical stuff. And we do tend to put games and things along the back there. But as I said, sometimes you can't get to that back section. And I get a lot of lamps, which I usually put up top. There's some paintings that I've featured in a video a while back. Haven't sold any of those, but they look really good up there. We'll continue down the middle aisle. Lots of china and glass and crystal. We have some Green Depression glass in there as well. English china. A lot of Art Deco stuff. And along the top, various clocks, silverware. That's a nice coffee pot, quite Art Deco, that one. Oh, we have a fallen soldier. When it gets hot in here, the candles do sag a bit. More pottery, glassware, ornaments, all down the middle and in the cabinets. And it turns over pretty quickly. And on the other side of this aisle, we have more of Christine's handmade stuff. More rocks, lots of bottles, some glassware, and lots of soaps. So we sell a lot of these soaps. They're made in Melbourne, and they're very strong smelling and quite delicious. Some of them, orange crush, it always feels like you should be able to take a bite of that. Passion fruit, frangipani. So they're all made in Melbourne and they sell very well indeed. A bit more glass and crystal in there. We'll walk back to the front and we can go left again. Many regular viewers will remember this mangle that I got out of my shed, and it's pride of place there. It gets lots of comments. We had one lady very keen on buying it, but she hasn't come back. I'm honestly not worried. It looks great there. More bottles. Lots of folders. We sell a lot of stuff out of here. Now this is just ephemera, just random booklets, vintage brochures. This one's mainly farm related stuff. And a lot of these are only $5 each. I wouldn't put them in here for less than that. And people like looking through them, and I am amazed actually how many sell. So that's farming stuff. I have vintage maps and engine and machinery brochures and ephemera. I've got a bit more on those. I've got $20 on those. Home appliance booklets, brochures. So mixers, sewing machines. I'll try and get the reflection away. Even a brochure for linos, Tie & Co. linos, so floor coverings, glass, anything old and interesting. A lot of these are 1950s or so, maybe into the 60s, and people like looking through them. Silent Night air-cooled refrigerators. So when we're sorting out old paperwork, we don't always just throw it in the recycle bin. It's quite popular. Recipe books sell very well. A lot of kitchen appliances came with their own recipe books, and It's really interesting reading through these. There's some amazing recipes in them. Ones that you probably can't find Googling. So more pottery and even some glass saucepans. Who remembers those? I think they were Visionware from maybe the 70s or 80s. And a bit of crystal, more china. We try to keep it looking as neat as we can. It's difficult with this much stuff, and because it comes and goes so quickly. Here's a recent addition, which many of you would have seen in a recent video, this old Valve radio. Got $50 on that. Some flashing lights. Some bird books, which also featured in a video. Some computer monitors. And just recently, the World War II exploding radio in inverted commas. And the Valve set, that was in a video I just put up last night for when I'm filming this now. I'm not sure when this video will go up. More books. Well, some books. I haven't filmed many books. We used to have books right along this whole back row, but Christine has requisitioned some of the shelving for her ever-growing range of homemade stuff. The TV section around here. This big TV I was testing, and it's got a bit of a fault, so I'm going to take it home. That's one that I fixed. Oh, I didn't fix, but I've got it through the e-waste. The one up the top there is going well as well. I've got this one here playing through a set-top box to demonstrate to people that just because an old TV doesn't get all the channels, you don't have to throw it out. I've only got $20 on that TV, but it is playing through a set-top box, which I've got $20 on, and it can now get all the channels. So the tech corner, I have all sorts of stuff. There's some DVD players, set-top boxes, even just speakers, lots of cords, some blank cassettes and some more VHS or videos. Anything that's sort of electronic related tends to go in this corner. Computer parts, CD-ROMs, I just got $5 each on those, they're untested. Keyboards, electronics magazines, and just lots of vintage stuff. I sold a vintage laptop from here yesterday, some telephones. The CD Walkmans that I featured in a recent video are in here, and some phones. And many of you will recognise things that have popped up in my videos recently. Camera gear in here. And if we walk over this side, more tech stuff. And I like to have things running and going, and I usually have radios running through the shop. I've turned them all off now due to the music copyright issues. We sell a lot of DVDs, only cheaply, but they sell 2 each or 3 for $5. This is the bar section. Lots of vintage glassware, and we've got in this cabinet here, we've got some really nice genie bottles. We've got them priced up a fair bit. The blue one's $350, the orange one's $400, the green one's $195. And look, they may sit there for a long time, but eventually they will sell. Lots of just plain glasses, and we do sell them, and they've got to keep them pretty cheap. Most just plain glasses are like $3 each or $5 a set of 6, or it depends what they are, really. And beer jugs, the good old German Steins, and various crocks and whiskey jugs, and even bottles of Coke and Pepsi. So this is the bar section. Alright, we'll keep panning around here. It's starting to get busy. There's people coming in. Good morning, Robin. So we have getting towards kitchen stuff now, some jugs, some sugar bowls and various things. That's a hot water bottle for those that haven't seen one. A bit more glassware. And the kitchen area has all your classic kitchen A-layer. A lot of people come in here and remember Mum's place or Grandma's place. And who knows, some people's kitchens might still be like this. So again, most of the prices are just $5, $10, $20. That really sums up the bulk of the things. We get the occasional nicer item that might be $50 or $100, but a lot of these are just vintage kitchen items that aren't particularly rare. People love old canisters, and they're usually just decorating or sometimes buying stuff to actually use, because the older stuff seemed to be so much better than modern day items. Lots of tins as well. And even cutlery. All the drawers are full of random bits and pieces. So you can see the shop's pretty well stocked, and it comes and goes very quickly. Sometimes we'll be, well, most days we're here, we're unboxing items and feeding it in and finding empty spots. And it seems to be a never-ending ebb and flow of stock. Nice old workbench here. You're probably not seeing much due to the light coming in the windows. Old car manuals and lamps and various shed things, soldering irons, and even light fittings. There's some radio valves in there. And many of you will have seen when I scrap things, I'll pull the rubber feet off it, because you never know when you need a set of rubber feet for something. Don't ask much for them, but it's better than throwing them out. Okay, I'll just finish up in this corner here. It's starting to get busy. So another workbench here with a display cabinet in the middle. This one I do keep locked because we put a lot of little knickknacks in here that are a bit more valuable. There's a FJ Holden hood ornament back there. I've got 130 on. Some of the Ford key barrels there, new old stock, 20 each. But just these are sort of things that over in this corner people can put in their pockets. So I've got to be a little bit careful of that. Around here we have some books, car manuals or something or other, motor manuals, more random shed stuff, electrical fuses, just anything you'd find in a shed usually, mechanic wise. Anything electrical tends to go to the tech corner. I do have lots of spanners, although the stocks are getting right down, so I have to reprice or hopefully dig out a lot more of these. A lot of them, again, are just $5 to $10. Most spanners, I think, unless they're special ones, I just put 5 on them. And if they're not good enough for that, they go to the $1 tub out the top. I do sell, and I've mentioned this lots of times, that I sell lots of just assorted hardware. Just $5 for that jar full. Some items I do put $1 each on, and I keep the jars, especially those nice sort of 50s era jars. But things like these jam jars, just full of random hardware, that will have $5 on it as well. Even nails. So we sell a lot of hardware here, and I'd like to do assorted lots rather than try and sell individual items. Every now and again someone will want one particular bolt and I just give it to them if they find one they want. More electrical stuff, but this is getting pretty low in stock. So I sell a lot of Bakelite switches at 5 each. There's only the one left. And I have a Seagull outboard motor here, plus another one in parts and a book. I've got 200 the lot. I don't know if they're in going order or not, but I have sold them before around about that money. And a large wall mount drill. Dad had one of these on the farm too. I think I've still got it. I've got 160 on that one. And I get a lot of nice axes too. Some of them quite valuable. We just stick them in the window here. The trouble with the window displays is you get a lot of spider webs here. It does need a bit of a clean out. But there we go. I like to keep this section full of interesting shed things and farm things, but we're pretty low on stock at the moment. A few old boxes up there, some scales, but yeah, lots of gaps. I'd love to get a lot more oil cans and oil bottles. They're just so hard to find, and when I do get them they sell very quickly. So that's about it for the shop. As you can see, it's a nice big area. We have a lot of ladders up in the ceiling. I want to hang a lot more lights up there and that sort of stuff, even some old bicycles. I haven't got around to doing that yet. And the only thing I miss, I think, from my old shop, and those that remember my old shop, was I had a lot of walls and different rooms and I could hang a lot of artwork up. We really don't have the hanging space in this place for artwork, which is a bit disappointing. We hang things on the ends of cupboards, of course, but we just don't have the areas to put up large paintings or prints. I've got a few up the back wall there, but that's about it. Anyway, there's a walk around our shop. Hope you enjoyed that. It's just after 10. I started filming about 9:30. We normally open from 10 until 4, but we're often, well, most times we're open earlier. The town is starting to fill up. By lunchtime, there won't be a park available anywhere, and there'll be people all around the footpaths. So I might get a little bit of footage of how busy it gets later before we finish up. Well, it's about 2 p.m. and it's been a very busy day. There's been people through the shop all day, and the town does not have any spare car parks that I can see. So it does fill up. It's a very popular tourist town in summer, and I've got to be careful not to sway it on the road or I'll get run over. But we do often get people parking up in the old service station there. It's not really parking, but sometimes that's the only spot you've got. Yeah, it's been a very good day. The weather's turned out really nice. It's probably I don't think it's quite as hot as they forecast, but it certainly feels like a summery day, maybe about 32. And there's a bakery across the road. And of course the lake, Nagambie Lake's down behind the pub there. I might take you for a walk around town one day for those who've never been here. Really nice place. And it's only a smallish town, but it's, let's walk across the road. I think it's a population of about, oh, it must be getting up towards 3,000 people now, but at any given time there's nearly 3,000 people in the caravan parks and in holiday houses and Airbnb properties. So yeah, great place to have a business like this. In fact, it's actually quietened off just a little bit. There was hordes of people here before. We had some people playing the piano. I think it's what you'd call the after lunch lull at the moment. They're all having a bit of a rest and a cuppa after their lunch, and we'll probably get really busy again before we close up. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll call this video finished. I don't know how long it'll be because I'll speed up some parts, and I know I talked a lot when we did a walk around. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've enjoyed the look of our shop if you've never seen it before. And if you're local, make sure you call in and make yourself known. All right, thanks for watching. Bye for now.